Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tara and today I am doing a 4-month rhinoplasty update. So 4 months ago on July 27th, I got my nose done, and today I wanted to give you some of the details leading up to this point, like how I'm feeling about my nose, how my nose itself actually feels, and whether or not this was the right decision for me. So let's go ahead and get started.
Misty mountains, dusty roads ahead, crossing rivers, dreaming of a bed, from a window in the mighty clouds up high.
Now, before we get started, I did want to mention I did a longer, very in-depth video of my progress as my nose was healing, so I will link that video down below if you'd like to see the whole process of getting my surgery and then having my bandages on, taking my bandages off, which I actually did myself, which was definitely the most nerve-wracking part of it all. But if you would like to see that video, definitely go check that out, and then you can come back to this one and watch it, or watch this one first, whichever you prefer. So first off, I wanted to say that this was absolutely one of the best decisions I have ever made for myself, and if I had to do it over again, I would 100% definitely do it over again, because I am so happy, very satisfied with my results. And what they told me when I got the surgery was that you will see tiny little changes probably for up to 1 year, and I can definitely attest to that that is very true, because each and every day I see little changes in my nose, and one of the main things being like the little twist that I had in my nose, I see that slowly starting to straighten out. And what they said is that because my nose has basically been in that position for such a long time, that it will take a little while for it to completely straighten out. So when I first took my bandages off, I could still see that twist, and so it made me kind of a little bit nervous, because I was expecting, like, you know, an instant immediate result, like everything's perfect, everything's straight as I want it to be, and it wasn't that way. So if you are getting rhinoplasty, do not panic whenever they take your bandages off and it's not exactly what you're picturing, like your nose, like how you want it to look exactly, because there are constant changes every week probably that I have seen in my nose, and now I can definitely tell, even looking on the camera, that my nose is beginning to come into line and get a little bit straighter. And so, like I said, I had my surgery 4 months ago, and one thing that is kind of weird and different is that I can't fully move my nose yet. So like I can't really scrunch it up all the way yet, but I definitely have more movement than I did 4 months ago. So that's not something like a facial expression that I guess I make a lot, because I don't notice it a lot. But sometimes if I'm ever like scrunching my nose, I guess maybe when I'm laughing or something, I can feel that tightness right in here. And then I also have a little bit of tightness right here in this like area between my top lip and the bottom of my nose. I feel a little bit of tightness, and probably for, I would say, the first month or so, it was kind of hard to smile because everything felt really tight and stiff right in here, and I didn't want to smile too big, because it was just, not that it was super painful, but it was more uncomfortable. And something else that I have noticed is that there's been a little bit of a progression like on the end of my nose, like on how the shape of it looks. So what he did basically when I got my surgery is he flicked up this tip just ever so slightly. I didn't want it to be, you know, flipped up too far to where you could see, you know, straight up my nose, but I definitely wanted to have a little bit more of a feminine tip on it, which he nailed it. He absolutely did that, and I love how it looks. So as you can see in my profile, like I have a nice straight septum right here, and then it barely, just ever so slightly, flicks up at the end, and I think it is so flattering. It's beautiful in photographs, and that is something that I struggled with for a very long time, was taking photos particularly photos that focused on my side profiles, and more so my left side profile, because I noticed it more on that side, and I just cringed at taking pictures that were from a profile angle because I never liked how my nose looked from that angle. I had a little bit, and then it wasn't a huge hump in my nose, but I definitely had a little bit of a hump right here. And I will put a picture up here on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. And that was the main thing, like when I went in to get my surgery and to talk to the doctor, that is the number one thing that I was worried about, was getting that out of my nose. And then secondly was fixing that little twist that was in my nose. And the twist wasn't something that was super visible either, and he said probably most people have a little bit of deviation in their septum, but they might not know it. It might not be noticeable to the naked eye. So in the surgery, I did not have a septoplasty, which is actually going in and literally straightening out the septum, because that is not generally included in a rhinoplasty surgery. If you get septoplasty, that's kind of a whole nother thing on its own. So I didn't end up doing that because my deviation wasn't severe enough to constitute getting a septoplasty. So I just had a rhinoplasty, and like I said, they removed the little dorsal hump right here, they straightened it out a little bit, and he flicked up the tip. And also one other thing that he did, and that is something that I never really noticed until he pointed it out to me, was that these bones right here, kind of not actually on this, like the nasal part of your nose, but right here on either side of my nose, they were a little bit wider than my nostrils down here. So he actually shaved these down a little bit so that they would be exactly in line with the base of my nose. So basically those bones were wider than my actual nose, so it was a less feminine look. So he shaved those down just a tad, and I actually notice it now that I'm looking in the mirror, and you know, like when I get ready in the morning, put on makeup, I can actually feel those bones right there. And that's something that I never even thought about, was these bones that kind of go on either, they're parallel to your nose right here, and he just shaved those down. So that is everything that I had done on my nose. And I can still see, like from my right and left side, like I see a little bit of difference, but something to keep in mind is that no body is perfectly symmetrical, right? So you have things on your face, like one of your eyes might be slightly higher than the other one of your eyebrows might be slightly higher or lower than the other one, or part of your mouth might kind of tick up on either side of it, which mine actually does kind of. I think it's on this side, it's kind of a little bit higher, but to someone just looking at you briefly, they will not pick up on it. But something to keep in mind is that you are not perfectly symmetrical. So I will just go ahead and show you my angles right now. So this is my right profile, and then this is my left profile. So I do see just a little bit of difference between the two, and not a bad difference, not something that I'm not happy with. I love it, but I do still see a subtle difference, and I'm curious if that's something that throughout this upcoming year, that if I'll see more difference in that and it will be a little bit more symmetrical or not. And that's just something, like, it's exciting to wake up every day and see those changes in your nose, because it's always a positive change once you get rhinoplasty, and it's not an instant gratification type of surgery. So if you're going in and you take your bandage off and you're not super happy with your results, do not panic, because it is true what they say, that every day, week, month, up to a year, you can have changes in your nose. And if you have an open rhinoplasty versus a closed rhinoplasty, that can also have an effect on your healing time and the changes in your nose. So I had a closed rhinoplasty, which I was very happy about, because it's less invasive. So they don't cut right here, and they don't lift the skin up and over, which is what they do in an open rhinoplasty. So here everything was closed and all of my stitches were internal. So, and something else, I just thought of this now that I'm talking about it, since I had a closed rhinoplasty and all of my stitches were internal, I would feel those little stitches like poking, and sometimes they would just not not painful, just like slightly irritating once in a while, like if you could feel it, you know, in your nose poking you. And they do actually just literally start to fall out. So like randomly I would just, you know, like see one falling out of my nose. So that's kind of an odd thing. And I would say the last stitch that I lost was a month ago, I think was when I lost my last stitch. And some of them like were longer than others, so that's why they were poking me a little bit. And I was kind of scared because whenever I took my bandage off, I had pulled one of those stitches out, and I called them actually to see if that was okay, and it is okay. I mean, if you pull a bunch out, that's not a good thing, but just one came out when I was pulling off my splint. And they said that was perfectly fine, it's okay. And then those stitches, so I lost stitches over the span of 3 months. And I don't think there's any more in there because I can't see anything, I don't feel anything. If not, I guess they just dissolved up there. And then I was trying to think of anything else that I wanted to mention. Just overall, I am so happy with this surgery, and it's been such a confidence booster. And I'm not saying that everyone should go get a rhinoplasty surgery, but if it's something that truly bothers you, that affects how you view yourself, that you don't feel confident going out into the world and presenting your best self, if you don't feel that way, then I would definitely recommend it to you. And it is an expensive surgery, and it's definitely an investment, but it's an investment in yourself. And that is truly how I feel about it, about the surgery, about me getting the surgery, because I felt like it was a very worthwhile investment into myself and my confidence and my self-image, my body image, and I absolutely love it. And I feel like my nose fits my face a lot better than my old nose did, and I feel like it suits my facial features a lot better. It's not something that when I look in the mirror that stands out, like it's just like really, oh, like wow, all you see is the little, you know, hump in your nose. I wanted it to blend with the rest of my face and be a subtle difference, which is exactly what it was. And people, if you run into people, sometimes people that you know, they might off the bat, they might not even know what you had done, or even like they can't put their finger on what you had done, and they'll just say like something is different about you. And I've definitely experienced this, and it's good. It's a good thing to me because they're not pointing out like, oh, you had your nose done. Like, I can tell you had your nose done. It's not that at all. And that is, he did exactly what I wanted him to do, which was make subtle changes to my nose that suited my facial features. And that is exactly what he did. So I highly recommend Dr. Warren Katz. He is in Dallas, Texas. He does accept patients out of town. I'm from New Mexico, so I went to go see him in Dallas. So it was about I think maybe a 6-hour drive, and we drove there and back. And the ride back, because right after surgery we drove back to our house, and it actually, looking back on it, it wasn't that bad. It's just like you're very out of it because you've been put under for surgery, so you know, you're just kind of in that state of being out of it, and you're super stuffy. That was the main thing throughout like my recovery period, was being very stuffy. So it wasn't super painful, but it definitely was uncomfortable. So prepare yourself for that, just to be a little bit or a lot of stuffy for probably, I would say I was very stuffy for maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and then gradually every single day there's changes and you get less and less stuffy. But overall, the recovery period, compared to like how happy I am with my nose, it is so worth it, 100% worth it. So thank you guys for watching my 4-month rhinoplasty update. I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. I know that was a lot of information in a short period of time. So if you do have any questions for me, please leave them down below in the comments section, and also go follow me on Instagram. It's at tara.diane, and you can also send me messages on there. I try to check those every single day, and I will get back to you. So thank you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.
I can touch a stream of gold above.